Hello everyone, welcome to Options with Doug, streaming live daily on Bookmap Discord and the Bookmap YouTube channel at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Before I get started, I need to go through the disclosures. General disclosure: all Bookmap Ltd materials, information, and presentations are for educational purposes only and should not be considered specific investment advice nor recommendations. Risk disclosure. Trading futures, equities, and options involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Here's my contact information. The best way to get in touch with me is through Discord. My name on Discord is Doug P. Also in Bookmap Discord, there's an Options-Doug chat channel. That's a great place to post questions, comments, and content related to the topics of my presentation and the topics of the channel, which I'll go through in just a moment. I'm also on X, formerly known as Twitter, and my name there is at Doug Pless. The focus of my presentation today and the focus of the Options-Doug chat channel is options order flow, the impact of options markets on stocks and futures, and the influence of market maker hedging flow on price action. I have a two-step process for trading, and the first is planning, and I use positional analysis. I look at how traders and market makers are positioned in the options market and how those positions change from day to day to develop a thesis regarding the expected trading range and volatility for the day, as well as a directional bias. And the second step of my process is execution. I look at real-time order flow in Bookmap and real-time market maker hedging flow in Spotgamma Hero to confirm my thesis and for setups for entries and exits. And when I talk about setups today, setups can be taken any number of ways. For example, the S&P 500 setups can be taken with futures, with ES futures, SPY shares, SPY options, SPX options, or even futures options. Questions and comments are welcome, and I will be watching both the Options-Doug chat channel in Discord as well as the chat in YouTube for your questions and comments. Please feel free to post, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Here's my agenda for today, Monday, November 13th. First of all, I want to go over news items upcoming for the week, economic data, events. There are not any earnings that I'm watching this week. Then I'll go through my positional analysis. Then I'll review some setups from earlier today. And then I'll take a look at the live market. And when I get to the live market, if anyone has any stocks they want me to take a look at, please let me know, and I'll be glad to do that. All right, let's start with news items. First of all, there were a couple of bond auctions this morning, 6-month and 3-month, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, non-event. Then tomorrow, the events really get started with the CPI data at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. That could definitely be a market mover. Then on Wednesday at 8:30 a.m., PPI data and retail sales come out. Again, that's 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And then tomorrow morning is the VIX monthly options expiration. Thursday, 8:30 a.m. jobless claims. And then on Friday, there is some data out, not really anticipated to be a market mover. Building permits, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And the big thing on Friday is the options expiration. That is the November monthly options expiration. And as the week goes on, we'll take a look at that expiration to see whether puts or calls are dominating. and that will give us a clue as to how the market may respond after expiration. All right, that is the upcoming economic data. All right, let's start with positional analysis for the S&P 500. This is the ES futures and Bookmap. Before I take a closer look at this chart, I want to take a look at a larger time frame. And good afternoon, Don. Welcome. Glad you're here. All right, let's take a look at a larger time frame. I'm going to go to an SPX chart. This is a 30-day, 1-hour chart. Let me point out the key turning points on this chart. I have them shaded in these small rectangles. First of all, that is the September jobs report that came out Friday, October 6th. Gamma squeeze. Price found resistance right around 43.90. Move lower. Interest rates were increasing. There was the incursion of Hamas into Israel. And then this is the October 20th options expiration, very put-dominated negative gamma. The expectation was for a put Vanna rally. That really only lasted for a couple days. The market continued lower. Traders were buying puts before the weekend. And then there was a huge implied volatility collapse, put Vanna rally after that was on began on October 30th, Monday, October 30th. Again, huge IV collapse. Looks like there was some consolidation, and then last Friday, traders decided the Magnificent Seven stocks had dipped enough, and they were aggressively buying calls for most of the day, and that drove a huge rally on Friday. And note, at the beginning of the day on Friday, gamma notional was negative for the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, and now has shifted to quite positive after that huge rally. So there was certainly a put Vanna component to the rally last Friday, as well as the call buyers in the Magnificent Seven stocks. We'll take a look at and see what traders are doing today in those stocks. All right, so that is those are the key turning points. Now let's take a look at the levels on the chart. First of all, the dashed purple lines are showing the lower and upper weekly expected move. This is based on the options market. That's for the week. It's updated once a week. Then the dashed blue lines are showing the lower and upper daily expected move. I update that once a day. Again, that's based on the options market. There are also some Spotgamma levels on this chart. I'm going to point out the key daily levels. These are provided to Spotgamma subscribers in a variety of trading platforms. This is Thinkorswim. Again, I'm going to point out the key daily levels. First of all, this is the put wall. That's the strike where the largest net negative gamma that can be expected to act as support. Note that level did move higher from 4,000 on Friday to 4,200 today. So a bullish shift higher and the potential floor for price for SPX. The next level up is that the 43.95 volatility trigger. And that is Spotgamma's proprietary volatility flip level. Below that level, market makers' position on the gamma curve is negative. In a negative gamma environment, market makers have to trade with price to hedge their delta exposure, and that tends to enhance or increase volatility. On the other hand, above that level, like SPX is trading now, market makers' position on the gamma curve is positive. In a positive gamma environment, market makers have to trade against price, and that tends to subdue or decrease volatility and leads to smaller trading ranges, more range days, mean reverting range days. Just above that is the absolute gamma strike at 4,400. That's the strike with the largest absolute positive and negative gamma. And that is where most of the gamma weighted open interest is concentrated. And in a positive gamma environment, that highest level of gamma weighted open interest can often act as a pin. So price, there's a good potential that price may be focused on that level as the week goes on towards expiration. Then the next level up is the call wall at 44.50, and that is the strike with the largest net positive gamma that can be expected to act as resistance. And that level did move up from 4,400 on Friday to 44.50 today. That's also bullish. The volatility trigger also shifted higher. So a hat trick for SPX. Volatility trigger, put wall, call wall, all moving higher. That is bullish. All right, let's take a look at a one-day chart for SPX now. So there's this, that was Friday. I highlighted that, showed that on the larger time frame chart. I'm going to zoom just a little bit. This is SPX for today in this dark shaded portion to the right. This is the volatility trigger, 43.95, acted as support, and that was the great launching point for a long today. Price moved up a little bit more than I thought, past the SPY 440 level, almost to this combo L3 level at 44.24. That was noted as resistance in the Spotgamma AM Founders Note. All right, so those are the SPX levels in play for today. Now let's take a look at Bookmap. In Bookmap, I have my own cloud notes, so I can show SPX levels. Most important today, there's the 43.95 volatility trigger that did act as support. Great launching point, entry point for a long today. Here's the SPY 440 absolute gamma strike. So I have SPX levels, SPY levels. There's the SPY 441 level. That's not a Spotgamma level. That's just a round number level that did act as resistance. And then there's this combo level up above that I mentioned. And this is how I frame movement in the S&P 500. I'm looking at SPX and SPY levels as the key levels for movement within the S&P 500. We'll talk more about setups in a few minutes. All right, no, there is a difference in price between ES and SPX. And today it is, earlier it was a little bit lower than 14, and today it is somewhere between 14 and 15 this afternoon. So I'm using 14. So ES minus SPX is 14. That's what I'm using. So I'm showing the SPX 4400 level at ES 4415. All right, so far today, those are the levels in play, with again, the key level being the 43.95 volatility trigger acting as support. All right, for SPY, there were several shifts and levels. The volatility trigger, call wall, and absolute gamma strike all shifted higher. So bullish shifts higher, a hat trick for SPY as well. And the put wall did move lower. And I really consider the shift higher and the shifts higher in the volatility trigger, call wall, and absolute gamma strike as more important. All right, so my thesis for the day based on the shifts in levels for the S&P 500 was definitely bullish. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ now. This is the NQ futures in Bookmap. And again, I'm going to take a look at, first of all, I want to isolate QQQ levels so we can see the QQQ levels in play for today. Note the sharp V reversal, that was not really at any key level, but then just a very mechanical uptrend up to around the 378 level. Let's just zoom this chart a little bit so we can see the Spotgamma levels in play for today. So QQQ trading above its volatility trigger. And note above the 380 level, you really can't see the label there, but that is the call wall. The call wall has remained at QQQ at 380 for QQQ for some time. So earlier today, the 377 level has been acting as support. All right, so that's QQQ. And there's that 377 level acting as support. Let's take a look at NDX. This 15,500 level definitely in play for today. NDX, there's the 15,500 level. And that is a large gamma 2 level. All right, for QQQ, the volatility trigger and absolute gamma strike shifted higher. Put wall shifted lower. And for NDX, also a hat trick. Volatility trigger, put wall, call wall, all shifted higher. Let's go back to NQ now. Lunchtime consolidation between 377 and that 15,500 level. Now it looks like NASDAQ wants to break out above that 15,500 level. All right, so thesis for the day for NASDAQ was also bullish based on the shifts higher in levels. And the one of the key levels for today was right around the lower daily expected move for NASDAQ. That was not really tested, just above that level earlier this morning. All right, let's take a look at gamma notional to see how market makers were positioned in the options market at the beginning of the day, or positioned on the gamma curve. Alex asked, do I consider icebergs? Yes, I do. Very important information for trading futures. And when I talk about setups today, the icebergs were a key in that long at the 43.95 level. All right, let's take a look at gamma notional for today. This is how market makers were positioned on the gamma curve at the beginning of the day for the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and Russell 2000. Note all these, the numbers for S&P 500, SPX, and SPY, very positive. And it's been quite a while since I've seen a positive number for SPY. So this is a very positive, positive notional gamma in this position. Traders are short calls, market makers are long calls. That's the assumption that Spotgamma makes. So market makers have to trade against price to hedge their delta exposure in this positive gamma environment. As price goes up, those calls start to increase in value, and they have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. And as price drops, those calls lose value, and market makers can buy back their shorts. So market makers are trading against price. All right, so for QQQ, the numbers also positive. These numbers shifted pretty strongly from Friday. So on Friday, gamma notional was negative for SPX, SPY, QQQ, and shifted quite positive today. Still negative for the Russell 2000. Well, let's take a look at the Vanna model now to get an idea of what this means. I'm going to start with SPX. Earlier today, the low of the day for SPX was again that 43.95 volatility trigger. Let's zoom in on this chart. So first of all, let me explain what this chart is showing. This is the Vanna model. Delta notional. This is market makers delta notional on the vertical axis and price on the horizontal axis. There are two curves on this chart. First, the light gray curve shows how market makers delta notional changes with changes in price only. And then the purple curve, this is what we focus on, shows how market makers delta notional changes with changes in price and implied volatility. And that change in delta notional with a change in implied volatility is the Vanna effect. Vanna is a second order Greek. All right, first of all, let's locate 43.95 on this chart. Somewhere around here between these two lines. So what this is indicating is this morning, as price was increasing, there was a very, very slight Vanna tailwind, really not much. SPX trading pretty close to the bottom of the curve. Let's see where SPX is trading now. So right around 44.18. Somewhere just right at the bottom of this curve. So there's no Vanna tailwind left at all. And if price continues to increase, market makers delta notional will start to increase, and they'll have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. And that is typical of a positive gamma environment. So we know gamma notional was positive at the beginning of the day, and SPX is trading above its volatility trigger. Let's take a look at SPY. SPY low of the day. Right around 438.5. Somewhere around here. So again, a very slight Vanna tailwind in the morning. Right now, SPY is trading right around 441, close to the high of the day. Right on the bottom of the curve. And finally, QQQ. QQQ, low of the day. Let's see where that, 375. So again, a very slight Vanna tailwind. QQQ actually still negative for the day. Trading right around 378 toward the bottom of the curve. So no more Vanna tailwind. And if price starts to increase, market makers will have to start selling futures. They will sell NQ futures for QQQ. All right, so Vanna not that much of a component in trade today. like it was in that huge rally that I talked about from October 30th, that IV collapse put Vanna rally. All right, let's take a look at some setups now. So first of all, my thesis, as I mentioned before, bullish on the S&P 500 and NASDAQ, and based on the positive gamma notional, looking for lower trading range, more subdued price action today. Now that's all dependent on other factors as well. Of course, both the NASDAQ and S&P 500 are an index of stocks, and there are 7 stocks at least that are huge drivers of price action in the both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500, and it certainly pays to watch those every day. All right, so let's take a look at some setups now. First of all, I'm going to take a look at what options traders have been doing today. I'm going to start with the S&P 500. This is the hero signal, hedging impact real-time options. What this chart is showing is price for SPX and the hero signal for a combined signal of SPX, SPY, XSP, and ES futures. That's showing what options traders are doing in all those instruments and market maker hedging activity. A rising line indicates traders are taking positive delta positions and market makers are hedging that by buying futures. On the other hand, with a falling line indicates traders are taking negative delta positions, market makers taking the opposite side, so they have to sell futures to hedge their delta exposure. All right, I'm going to zoom in on this chart. And I'm going to focus on, first of all, the morning. And this was not a very clear signal. So I'm focusing on the long setup, the reversal higher at the hedge wall, the volatility trigger, 43.95. And really took a while for options traders to get going. Let me zoom in this chart so we just see the so there's the signal in the morning. Looking for a long entry. If you were just looking right around this time like I was. So what I saw is price moving down to a potential support level, 43.95 volatility trigger. Traders start taking positive delta positions and then looking for a long entry. All right, so let's go take a look at Bookmap. Take a look at the clues in Bookmap. Let's go back to the ES. I'm going to zoom in. All right, so I'm looking at this level to act as support, potential support. All right, so the first clue, just looking at a very short time frame, I saw that traders were taking positive delta positions with a rising hero line. I have a potential support level. Large traders coming in with iceberg orders. So Alex, there you go. Yes, I do consider iceberg orders. That's shown by this on-chart indicator as well as the rising light blue line. And around that level, also notice cumulative volume delta rising. You can see this final shift and volume dots. The volume dots are showing market buy minus sell. Magenta dots indicate more sellers than buyers. Green dots indicate more buyers than sellers. And note that price was making a series of higher lows. So I knew that at least in the very short term, traders were taking positive delta positions. Aggressive buyers were coming in right at that 43.95 level. Large traders with iceberg orders. And then as price starts moving higher, buy stop orders help to fuel the move higher. That's shown by the yellow line there. And again, remember, my thesis for the day was bullish. So there were a number of ways to take this, as I mentioned in my introduction. Buy futures. You could buy a call in futures, SPY call, SPX call. So a number of ways to take this trade, or call spread. Typically not the best trade. Skew does not favor call spreads, buying call spreads typically. All right, so the initial target for this setup was at 440, the 440 absolute gamma strike. There's some consolidation at that level. But price continued on higher after a little bit of consolidation up to 441. And note that buy stop orders help to continue to fuel the move higher up until about 12 o'clock. All right, so that was the long setup in the S&P 500. The hero signal for S&P 500 did not provide the most clear signal. Let's go back and take a look at hero again. Going to zoom out. So it took a while for that options traders. They were up and down, but hero started moving higher until around 10:50, 11 o'clock. And let's go back to Bookmap. And that's when price was approaching this 440 level, absolute gamma strike. That was the call wall last week. All right, let's go back to hero now. All right, that's the S&P 500. Go back and look at the entire day. So far for today, hero is trending negative now. And that's pretty negative, minus 2 billion. So traders are buying puts today, and that activity has been pretty steady since about 10:45. Buying puts, and then right around 11:50, they stopped buying calls. They started selling calls. Sorry about that, nothing I did. All right, so note right now, both lines are moving down. That's typically a pretty strong signal. And notice that price responded up until about 1:30 when traders started buying calls again. All right, let's take a look at NASDAQ. So NASDAQ, this is the combined signal for NDX, QQQ. Not very clear today, not really providing much of a clue. So in that case, I like to look at this combined signal for the Magnificent Seven, and there you go. This is what was certainly driving both the S&P 500 and NASDAQ on Friday and again today. So this is a combined signal for these 7 stocks known as the Magnificent Seven: Apple, Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, Nvidia, Tesla. Very, very good leading indicator of price action. Very good confirmation. Let's zoom in on this. So this is when price started to move higher, just before 10 a.m. Traders started taking positive delta positions. And note, very typical behavior. Right around noon, just before noon, traders take their foot off the gas, stop taking positive delta positions, and price moves lower, consolidates. All right, let's go take a look at NASDAQ. So we see this turnaround point just before 10 a.m. Take a look at the NASDAQ chart. So here's that turning point just before 10 a.m., just above the lower daily expected move. Let's zoom in on this just a bit. And you can see the shift in order flow. Aggressive sellers on the way down. Falling yellow line indicates sell stop orders fueling that move lower. Then aggressive buyers start to come in, and price starts to make higher lows as traders were taking positive delta positions in the Mag 7. So the reversal point in the NASDAQ, not quite as precise, and this lower daily expected move, upper daily expected move, not as precise as the Spotgamma levels and the round number levels. Let's go back to Hero. Let's take a closer look and see what traders are doing. And they were buying calls primarily, also selling puts. Calls shown by the rising orange line. Sorry about that. Try this one more time very quickly. Rising orange line, traders are buying calls. Rising blue line, traders are selling puts. When traders buy calls in a stock, market makers sell the calls, and they have to buy stock to hedge their delta exposure. All right, so this is the signal. I think probably the primary signal you certainly want if you're a Spotgamma subscriber. Definitely want to bookmark this chart, Magnificent Seven, and take a close look at it every day. All right, so bullish setups in S&P 500 and NASDAQ. Driving price higher, Magnificent Seven driving price higher, just like they did Friday. Traders took a small break this morning and also Friday afternoon, and now they're back at it. All right, let's take a look at some stocks. So one thing I did today, looking for a bullish day, is I ranked my watch list down here below the chart by hero signal. So this is comparing the hero signal to the last 30 days. That's shown by the entire length of the slider here, and the dot is showing the hero signal today in comparison to the last 30 days, again shown by the entire length of the slider, and also the last 5 days shown by this colored portion here. So you can see the hero signal for Tesla is the strongest that it's been in the last 30 days and stronger than it has been in the last 5 days. And that's understandable. Tesla has been pretty beat up recently, and traders are coming in and buying the dip in Tesla. So let's take a look at the hero signal for Tesla. This is really the stock of the day. Zoom in. Traders are buying calls and selling puts. Call buyers more aggressive, taking advantage of the low price. And note the Spotgamma levels in play. 212.50 hedge wall acting as support. 217 call wall, not much resistance. And also now Tesla trading above the 220 key gamma strike. All right, let's go take a look at Bookmap. Remember, 212.50 was the hedge wall. Tesla traded down a little bit lower to the 212 level. Very clear shift in order flow. Magenta volume dots down to that level. Shift to green volume dots. And aggressive buyers in all the way up to 225, passing right through the key gamma strike and the call wall. Note the liquidity target shown here in Bookmap, and typically for a higher price stock like Tesla, the liquidity comes in mostly concentrated at the zeros and the fives, and these are limit sell orders that come in the order book, most of them at the cash open. For a stock, they'll typically stay in the order book until they're filled, and those levels of higher liquidity act as targets for price. Very bullish day in Tesla. All right, let's take a look at a couple of other stocks. I want to go back to my hero watch list. All right, the next, Amazon. No Spotgamma levels in play for today, but a very bullish day. Timely flow alert. Traders are buying calls in Amazon. This is the typical pattern. Traders take their foot off the gas and price consolidates. Friday was not typical. That there's really no pause at lunchtime. The pause didn't come until late in the afternoon. Sorry about that. Zoom back out. Very sharp contrast. Traders taking positive delta positions. Take the foot off the gas. Price consolidates. Let's go take a look at the Bookmap. Let's go to Amazon. And for Amazon, the shift in order flow was not quite as clear. Mostly aggressive buyers on the way down and the way up. But nice sharp V reversal, pullback entries. Then options traders take their foot off the gas, price consolidating right around 143. That liquidity in the order book at 143, the primary target, up above 143.50. Kind of unusual to see that liquidity not at a round number, but if price continues higher, that would be the next next target. Let's just zoom out a little bit. So above that, note the liquidity stacked up at the round number levels, especially 145. And then when you zoom out like this, that liquidity at 143.50 becomes a lot less significant. All right, so that's Amazon. Let's go back to Hero. Any questions? IWM, bullish day in IWM. I don't have it on Bookmap on this computer. I have it running on another computer. But let me just check one thing. All right, so far today, IWM just very slightly positive. QQQ slightly negative. I know Tom Sosnoff has been talking about a pairs trade with the Russell 2000 and NASDAQ, buying the Russell 2000, selling NASDAQ. So far, he's not done well with that trade today, but for the year, but it looked like it is working today. So traders are buying calls and buying puts. Call buyers more aggressive. Calls shown with the orange line, puts shown with the blue line. All right, Caesar asked, could we take a look at Tesla, please? I already looked at Tesla. That was the first stock that I looked at. Sorry, I don't want to go back over it for everyone who saw it before. Please just take a look at the recording. I guess starting around 2:10, maybe something like that. I think that's probably when I got to Tesla. So Caesar, sorry you missed that, but I did take a look at Tesla. All right, Shane, I'll get to Q2 in just a minute. It may not be in Hero. We'll see. I certainly don't have that stock in Bookmap. All right, so there's IWM. And when I was looking this morning, the next stock on this ranking list was Meta. Strong day in Meta. Note the 330 level. Key gamma strike call wall. Now it looks like price is consolidating right around that level. Typical pattern. Actually, we'll just stick with this. Little pullback in the morning. Reversal higher as options traders start taking positive delta positions, and they take their foot off the gas, and price consolidates or moves lower. This pattern repeats over and over and over again. Let's go take a, first of all, let's see what traders are doing. So call buyers, early in the morning, call buyers and put sellers driving price higher. Wrong tool, sorry. and they stop selling puts and then stop buying calls, and price consolidates. Let's go to Bookmap, take a look at Meta. Very bullish day in Meta. Let's zoom in on. Remember, 330 key gamma strike call wall breach earlier today. So there's that pattern. Down, this case down to the 326 level, pretty close to the opening print. Aggressive buyers start to come in, price moves higher to the liquidity targets above, also again 330 being the key gamma strike, and also the call wall. Price moves up a couple levels to the resting limit sell orders in the order book, attracting price. Reversals at those levels. So Meta doing a very good job today of moving from round number level to round number level. Now back down to the 330 level. Note the all the aggressive sellers coming in. You can see the accumulation of magenta volume dots. A couple of tests of VWAP there. This is the blue line there, light blue line showing VWAP. Let's go back to Hero, see what options traders are doing. All right, let's see if UTU is in here. So sorry, that stock is not available in Hero. Hero is not available for every stock. So not available for that stock, sorry. All right, does anyone else have any stocks they want me to take a look at? Meanwhile, we'll go back to the S&P 500 here. Looks like the Hero signal options flow has somewhat leveled off. Still up and down in a range today, or kind of chopping around. Let's just take a look at shorter time frame, see if that gives any clarity. So in the shorter time frame, it looks like, just looking at the last 30 minutes of data, that Hero continues to oscillate up and down, but now looks like it may be making a series of higher lows. Let's see what zero DTE traders are doing, first of all, for the day. So making up a pretty large component of the notional value today, that is minus 1.23 billion versus a total, all expirations, right now a little bit under 1.8 billion. So around 2/3 of the notional value today for options trades are in options that expire at the end of the day today. zero DTE options trades. And that is, I guess, really somewhat understandable considering CPI data comes out tomorrow morning. Traders are just trading, not worrying about tomorrow when they're trading zero DTE options. Let's go back and take a look at the Magnificent Seven. And starting to trend higher again. Let's go back to Bookmap. Go to ES. ES making its way back up to the 441 level, high of the day. Let's check NASDAQ. So NASDAQ broke out of this lunchtime consolidation range between 377 and 15,000. Did one final retest around round 2, now trying to get above the 378 level. Let's see what NVIDIA is doing today. Let's see what options traders are doing in NVIDIA. In NVIDIA, they're actually selling puts and selling calls. So they're selling premium in NVIDIA today. But overall, the notional value for options trades is positive. Right now around positive 88 million. Let me just check one thing. I know NVIDIA earnings are coming up. So I think NVIDIA earnings may be next week. All right, I'll check that. I'll talk about that when that comes up. All right, last call. Anybody have any stocks they want me to take a look at? NVIDIA, no gamma levels in play for today. Back the S&P 500. Bookmap. NASDAQ. Let's see what Tesla's doing. All right, Tesla back to the 225 level. Let's check CVD. So the move higher in Tesla definitely driven by not only options traders but aggressive buyers in the morning. CVD levels off, price consolidates on and around 225, below 225. Looks like CVD is starting to tick up again. You can see the green volume dots coming in. Aggressive buyers are back in Tesla. All right, Don says a whole new language I'm learning. Thanks. Don, I guess there is a lot of jargon in trading. So yeah, it just takes time. If you have any questions about what I'm talking about, both Bookmap and Spotgamma have great websites. Bookmap has a fantastic knowledge base. You can search for anything in there, a number of great articles. And then also Spotgamma has a great support center that is free and available to everyone. So both Bookmap and Spotgamma, free resources, free help centers available whether you're a subscriber or not. All right, my time is up. I want to thank everyone for watching. Thank you very much for your questions and comments. Remember, CPI data comes out tomorrow morning. Could be a market mover, and I'll talk about it tomorrow afternoon. All right, thanks again. Bye.